Hey guys, my name's Rogue. I've been a pro support player for 7 years now, mainly playing melee supports as I just love making a huge play on stage. In today's video, we're going to learn about every aspect of playing tank supports, starting from the laning phase, how to unlock yourself to be able to roam and help your team, how to execute dives and dominate lane, and even how to team fight, and most importantly, your role in a team fight. And at the end of today's video, you're going to know exactly how to play tank supports like a pro. Let's jump into it. When playing a melee support, you should be looking for an invade in most games. Look for a pick level 1 or at least try and burn the enemy's flash, even if it means trading your own. Once you've burnt the enemy's flash, it's going to set up for a really easy level 2 all-in or even an early gank on a defenseless target. What's going to make you benefit even more from the trading of flashes is the ability to take Hex Flash on most melee supports, which makes an absolute nightmare for your lane opponent. One thing to keep in mind is any time a wave crashes into a tower in League, it's going to come back. When the enemy minions arrive first, it's going to allow them to stack up and push back into you. Using this trick, we can come back to lane before the enemy is able to crash the wave into the tower, setting us up for a really easy repeat gank before they have their summoners back up. A similar concept can be used even when losing lane. In this clip, I walk up to prevent all of the enemy minions crashing into the tower. This has the effect that the minion wave gets stuck and settles closer to my tower, giving me more space to work with. This doesn't sound like it would have a big effect, but on melee supports, it's really important to keep the wave away from the enemy tower until it's time to crash it. In this case, having the extra space between the opponent and their tower allows me to find an all-in and chase them down for a kill. If I was able to prevent more enemy minions going into the tower, then I could have started this push even closer to my tower, giving me more space to find these follow-up kills. Once you start using these techniques, the result is going to be the same, whether you kill the enemy and crash the wave into tower, or do so because they play defensively. You're going to be unlocked very early into the game to start roaming mid and ruining the game for the enemy mid laner. Once you've made one good roam and they don't have flash, you can easily repeat it and camp them for the entire game. Try not to get too caught up in the idea of roaming. If at the moment you crash the bot wave, there's an opportunity bot. Tank supports are really good at diving, and the reward for doing so is often much greater. In this replay, for example, we spot Karma on the top side as the wave crash spot. I use this information to go for a 1v2 dive confidently, and we end up getting a kill on the enemy Kai'Sa. One thing to realize is that minions are an objective in League, and denying them is also an objective. Here you can see the massive payoff for getting that kill. Don't be afraid to sacrifice your own life for the greater good, especially when the payoff is so good. A lot of the times when you stack up a wave and crash into enemy tower, the dive is only possible if you tank until you die. Yet the reward for doing so is worth it. The same thing can be applied to team fighting. In this case, I hook forward, which almost guarantees my death, but doing so allows Viktor to snipe Tristana in the back. In this case, because of my sacrifice and some fancy moves from Viktor, we're able to clutch out the fight and win a 3v4. Try to envision your health bar and your crowd control as tools to enable your team to deal damage. In this fight, I engage forward, but immediately fall back upon using my CC. I don't want to give the enemy a health bar to hit, as no one on my team is in range to take damage. Had I kept running forward, the enemy backline would have had a free target to deal damage to for no reason. The last thing that's important to know when playing a tank support is what is your role in a team fight and when does it change? Do you need to play front to back and peel, or is the time to dive the backline? So let's dive into a game versus a very fed Akali and see how I overcame this and won. Going into this fight, I know that my primary goal is to keep my fed Tristana alive. At this moment, instead of diving into the enemy backline for a good follow-up with my team, I instead save my crowd control to peel Tristana, which eventually lets us win the fight and chase down Akali for a big shutdown. Always ask yourself the question and make a decision before a fight on if you win front to back. If you've already decided that you win front to back, your main objective is just going to be enabling your carries to deal damage, and if they already are, you don't have to do anything. As tempting as it is to flash forward and knock up the enemy team, my Tristana already has someone to hit. Even furthermore, I save my W to use on Lee Sin after she's already gotten the first kill, and that lets us chase down the enemy in sequence and to take up the fight and eventually the game. If you learned something from this video, be sure to like and subscribe and check out other videos on my channel. And if climbing in League is something that you're interested in, be sure to check out the video description for private sessions and guides written by me.